The Stanley Hotel in Estes Park, Colorado is one of the most famous, historic, and haunted hotels in the United States, largely because of its connection to Stephen King's The Shining. Here's a breakdown of its history and legacy. It was built in 1909 by Freeland Oscar Stanley, the inventor of the Stanley steamer automobile. Stanley moved to Estes Park in 1903 after being diagnosed with tuberculosis. Doctors told him the clean mountain air might extend his life. And it did. He recovered so well that he decided to build a luxury hotel resort there. He and his wife Flora opened the Stanley Hotel as a high-class retreat for wealthy Easterners. It featured electricity, telephones, modern bathrooms, and automobiles to shuttle guests around, extravagant for its time. In the early 20th century, Stanley attracted wealthy socialites, politicians, and celebrities. The hotel helped transform Estes Park into a resort town and drew attention to nearby Rocky Mountain National Park, established in 1915. By the 1970s, the Stanley had fallen into disrepair. Tourism had slowed. The building was in poor condition. Some even considered demolishing it. But in 1974, Stephen King and his wife Tabitha stayed at the nearly empty Stanley Hotel just before it closed for the winter. King had wandered the long, empty halls and had a nightmare of his young son being chased through the hotel by a fire hose. That stay inspired The Shining. Stanley Kubrick's film adaptation was not shot at the hotel. Interior shots were filmed on sets in England and exteriors at the Timberline Lodge in Oregon. The Stanley has since embraced its Shining connection, showing the film on repeat and offering ghost tours. The Stanley is often ranked among the most haunted hotels in America. Reported activity includes room 217, where King stayed. Guests reported flickering lights, objects moving, and ghostly apparitions. Flora Stanley's ghost, said to play piano in the music room. Children's laughter, often reported on the 4th floor. The ballroom and basement, hotspots for ghost sightings. It's been featured on Ghost Hunters, Ghost Adventures, and other paranormal shows. The Stanley is fully restored and operates as a luxury hotel and tourist attraction today. It offers historical tours, Shining-themed events, and paranormal investigations. It even has its own whiskey bar, a concert hall, and a hedge maze, added in 2015 as a nod to Kubrick's film. While Freeland Oscar Stanley built the hotel as a place of healing, many say the energy inside was anything but. From the start, strange occurrences were reported: phantom voices, flickering lights, and shadows drifting down along the halls. But because the Stanley was a luxurious resort, wealthy guests came from all over, some of whom died during their stays. The building is often described as a spiritual echo chamber, a place where energies imprint themselves and replay endlessly. The most haunted spots in the hotel are as follows. Room 217. That's the crown jewel of the Stanley's ghost stories. In 1911, chambermaid Elizabeth Wilson was nearly killed when an explosion rocked the room. A gas leak ignited while she was lighting lamps. She survived, but supposedly she still lingers there. Guests report their bags being unpacked or repacked on their own. Lights flickering, turning on and off. Ghostly figures standing over the bed at night. This is the room Stephen King stayed in before writing The Shining. We also have the concert hall, said to be haunted by both Paul and a former maintenance man, also by Flora Stanley herself. Paul enforces hotel rooms from beyond the grave, telling people to get out after hours. Flora's ghost is known to play the piano, filling the room with faint, old-fashioned music when no one is near. Also the fourth floor, once a servant's quarters and children's play area. Guests often hear children laughing, running, or bouncing balls in the hallways late at night. But there's no kids present. Closet doors open and shut on their own, and shadows drift along the ceiling. And lastly, the ballroom. Guests report lively, phantom parties. Chandeliers swaying, glasses clinking, faint laughter and music when the room is empty. There's been tons of reported paranormal activity. Cold spots suddenly enveloping guests, phantom voices whispering names, apparitions in old-fashioned clothing appearing briefly and then vanishing. Tour guides say flashlights and EMF detectors often behave strangely during investigations. We've mentioned before it's been featured on Ghost Hunters, Ghost Adventures, Portals to Hell, and countless other paranormal documentaries. Paranormal enthusiasts describe the Stanley as a psychic battery, a place where supernatural energy charges and discharges like lightning. Some even believe Stephen King's nightmare of his son being chased wasn't just a dream, but the hotel showing him one of its own echoes of fear. The Stanley's legend has grown so strong that even skeptics leave uneasy. Visitors often say the hallways feel alive, like something unseen is walking just a few steps behind them. All right, gather close. Imagine the air crisp and thin, the mountains a black wall against the moonlight. The Stanley Hotel looms before you, white against the night, its windows glowing like watchful eyes. Let me take you inside. They say the Stanley was meant to be a place of rest, of healing. Freeland Oscar Stanley came here in 1903 to breathe the clean mountain air. And when he built his grand hotel 6 years later, he believed it would be a palace of life. But the thing about building a sanctuary on the edge of wilderness is, sometimes you don't get to choose what else moves in. Step with me into the lobby. You feel it already, don't you? That sense of being watched. Guests swear they catch a glimpse of Flora Stanley drifting past the grand staircase, her gown brushing the carpet without a sound. If you listen carefully, you might even hear piano notes rolling through the air, though the bench sits empty. Now, follow me upstairs. We're stopping at room 217. Do you see the brass numbers shining on the door? You do. This is the room that nearly killed poor Elizabeth Wilson, the maid who survived an explosion here in 1911. You remember? But surviving isn't the same as leaving. Today, guests report waking to find their clothes neatly unpacked, shoes lined by the bed, and flickering lights going off and on their own. Sometimes they feel a sudden weight press against them in the night, like someone sitting on the bed. Stephen King himself spent a night here and dreamed of his son being chased by a fire hose. By morning, he had the bones of The Shining written. This floor once held the servants' quarters, and children were allowed to play here. The children are still here. Guests hear giggling in the dark, or the bounce of a ball rolling down the hall. But when you look, the hallway is empty. Sometimes the shadows above seem to stretch, long, reaching arms sliding across the ceiling. That's what it looks like. That's what they see. Is that what you see? Down now, to the concert hall. Paul, a former worker, doesn't rest easily. He's known to whisper, "Get out," to anyone who lingers after midnight. People hear it in the dark, a voice right against their ear. And if you're lucky or unlucky, you might hear Flora's piano begin to play. Not loudly, just soft, mournful notes. By the time you approach, the keys are still and silent, like nothing happened. Finally, the ballroom, empty, isn't it? Yet guests speak of phantom parties, of chandeliers swaying to unseen music, glasses clinking, and laughter echoing off the walls. Some say if you stand in the center of the room alone and close your eyes, you'll feel the press of 100 invisible guests circling you, still dancing, still laughing, trapped in their endless celebration. And when you finally step outside into the night air, you'll notice the silence. Too heavy, too still. Because when you leave the Stanley Hotel, it doesn't quite leave you. We've wandered through the lobby, the halls, the ballroom, but the Stanley doesn't give up its shadows so easily. Some say you only find the real stories if you push deeper. When the lights are gone and you're brave enough to walk where the air feels colder than it should, you'll find it. It'll be waiting. Now follow me to the basement. The ceiling lowers here, pipes hissing faintly overhead. The walls sweat, almost looking damp, constantly. Guests on tours have said they see shadows darting between the columns, darker than dark itself. The guides like to joke that it's just the lighting, but you notice, don't you? The prickling at the back of your neck, the sense that something small and fast just ducked out of sight. Some whisper about a shadow figure here, child-sized, but wrong, too thin, its arms bending at strange angles as it scuttles along the walls. Now, the tunnels, few talk about these. Narrow passages under the hotel where workers used to move unseen, ferrying supplies. They smell of earth and old wood. Sometimes visitors claim they feel a hand brush theirs in the dark. But no one's beside them. Others say they hear breathing just over their shoulder, warm and wet, though the air is icy. We'll climb now, all the way back to the 4th floor. Remember the laughter you thought you heard earlier? Listen again. It's gone, isn't it? But now the silence is worse because you realize it's not empty silence. It's listening silence. If you stand at the far end of the hall and stare, the lights seem to stretch the corridor longer than it should be. Some guests swear that when they try to walk back, it takes too long or longer than it took before, like the hallway doesn't want to let them leave. Finally, let me show you one last place, the staircase. The grand staircase in the lobby. During the day, it's just wood and polish, but at night, cameras catch orbs, mist, even full figures gliding upward. A woman in a Victorian dress, her face blurred as if she doesn't want you to see. People say she lingers at the landing, watching, waiting. If you blink, she's gone. But sometimes, if you're unlucky, she isn't. The guides will tell you its history. The thrill seekers will tell you it's fun. But when the sun goes down and the guests tuck themselves into bed, the Stanley breathes on its own. The walls creak like old bones. The mirrors ripple as if someone's behind the glass. And if you listen long enough, you'll hear the voices. Not always loud, not clear, but they're there. And the darkest part, everyone who leaves here swears they carry something with them. A dream they didn't have before. A shadow that wasn't in the corner yesterday. A whisper at home. A chill that follows them. The Stanley doesn't just haunt its rooms. It haunts you. So if you go back tonight and close your hotel room door, listen closely before you sleep. If you hear soft piano keys, or laughter in the hall, or footsteps stopping right outside your room, don't open your eyes. Don't breathe too loudly. And above all, don't answer when it calls your name. Here, I have a journal entry from an unnamed guest. His wife found it when she packed his belongings after he was admitted to a hospital for psychiatric evaluation after going nearly mad. He kept saying, "It didn't let me go." Passage. One night at the Stanley. The hotel looked beautiful when I arrived, white and proud against the mountain sky. By day, it felt like a postcard, harmless. But when the last tour ended, the tourists filtered away and the halls grew empty, way too empty. I'm in room 217, the famous one, the room where the maid almost died, the room where King dreamed of monsters. At first, it feels like any hotel, carpet soft or faintly sweet with polish. But then I notice the silence. Not quiet, but not still either. It's like listening silence. Like the room is waiting for me to speak first. Odd. I unpack my bag. I swear I set my keys on the dresser. But when I turn around again, they're on the nightstand. I laugh it off. Nerves, I guess. Around midnight, I lie in bed. I keep the lamp on, but my eyelids grow heavy. But then, wait. Something settles on my mattress. I froze slowly and I open my eyes. The sheets dip beside me, pressed down as if someone's sitting there. But there's nothing there. No one at all. The light flickers twice, and when it steadies, the impression in the bed is gone. I can't sleep. I get up, step into the hallway, long, endless, the carpet swallowing sound. That's when I hear it, laughter, high-pitched, light children's laughter. It comes from the far end of the hall, then darts behind me, then above me, echoing across the ceiling. I spin, my heart's racing. The corridor is empty. But a ball, a red rubber ball rolls across the carpet and stops at my foot. And then the walls feel closer. I stumble back to my room, the keys sticks in the lock, my hands shaking, but the door finally opens. Inside, the air is freezing. My breath clouds in front of me. I hear something like piano notes, faint sorrow drifting through the vents. The melody rises, stops, rises again. I press my ear to the wall. It's not in the vents. It's like inside the room. I turn slowly. The mirror across the bed ripples, like water disturbed. My reflection twists, stretching longer than me, smiling when I'm not. I stumble backwards, and then it speaks, not loud, like in booming, just a whisper in my own ear, hot and wet. Why did you come here? I don't remember the rest clearly. The lamp shattered. The sheets yanked tight around me as if strangling me. The door wouldn't open no matter how hard I pulled. And in the glass, my reflection leaned closer, pressing its hand against the other side. When I woke, the sun was bleeding through the curtains. The room was neat. My bag was packed. My keys were waiting by the door. I told the staff I was checking out. They only smiled like they'd heard it all before. Now, days later, the laughter follows me in dreams. My keys go missing, then turn up in places I didn't even put them. And sometimes at night, I wake to the weight on the mattress again, settling slowly beside me, waiting. The Stanley Hotel let me leave, but it didn't let me go. Here's another guest diary, found from a person who braved these halls and documented their experience. Some are quite chilling. The Stanley Guest Diary, Entry 1, 6:45 p.m. Checked in today, room 217. It's gorgeous, old-fashioned, with the kind of charm you don't see anymore. The staff warned me about the ghost tours, said not to worry if I heard anything strange. Cute gimmick. I'm just here for the atmosphere. Entry 2. Unpacking. Funny thing, my suitcase was zipped shut when I left it on the bed, and now it's open and my clothes are laid out in neat little piles. Housekeeping must have slipped in, but I never heard the door. Entry 3. 12:03 a.m. Can't sleep. Something keeps pressing on the bed like someone's sitting down. Every time I turn on the lamp, the weight disappears. I laughed at the idea earlier, but I'm not laughing now. Entry 4. 1:27 a.m. I went out into the hallway to clear my head. I thought I heard children playing, giggling, running, a ball bouncing. I followed the sound, but the hall just kept going and going. Too long, longer than it should be. When I finally turned back, the ball rolled across the carpet and stopped at my feet. Red, smooth, still warm to the touch, like it had just been held. Entry 5, 2:41 a.m. Back in my room, cold, so cold my breath hangs in the air. The piano started a few minutes ago. No one's in here, but the notes come from around the corner where the shadows are the thickest. A slow tune, sad, almost begging. When I looked, the keys were moving by themselves. Entry 6, 3:19 a.m. The mirror isn't right. My reflection moves when I don't. It smiles when my face is still. It raised its hand to the glass, and when I didn't, the sound of fingers dragging across the mirror filled the room. Long scratches now score the surface, and I didn't make them. Entry 7, 4:02 a.m. It spoke to me right against my ear. Why did you come here? The voice wasn't mine. It wasn't human. It crawled under my skin. I tried the door, locked. The handle won't move. The windows won't open. Entry 8. No timestamp. Time doesn't work here anymore. I can't tell how long it's been. The sheets keep tightening, pulling around me when I lie down. I woke to handprints pressed into the mattress beside me. Too many hands, too many fingers. Entry 9. Final. If anyone finds this diary, don't stay in 217. Don't stay on the 4th floor. Don't listen when the laughter calls you into the hall. The Stanley doesn't want guests. It wants you. And once it's touched you, once you've heard your name whispered in the dark, you never really check out. After hearing all of this, will you go for a visit? Are you brave enough? Or will you brush it off and make yourself believe that these are all silly campfire stories to scare the children? Denial, maybe. If you do end up going, remember, take your sage, your Bible, or whatever gives you comfort during times of torment, because you'll need it. Till next time, my friends, sleep tight or don't.